What is up, Ham Radio? Kilo Echo 8 Papa Zoo November, the Ham Radio Adventure Guy with Dan with his volume up on YouTube. I heard that. I heard that echo.
No.
Oh, anyway, thanks for stopping by. Your one stop for everything Adventure Radio. It is Hump Day. Time for the Hump Day Happy Hour. And welcome. Before we get started, we're going to thank the Patreons with this new layout board. Thanks to Mr. Whiskey Delta 4 Delta Alpha November, always arranging to make room for more of you guys. Because I would love to see this board be so full that Dan had to make this a 2-slide thing.
There you go.
That's what we should shoot for this year. We need to get to 2 slides this year for just Patreons.
No. One for each tier.
One for each. Okay, there we go. Yeah. And one for each tier of YouTube members as well. You guys are also equally important. Get that little cool green chat going and with the little badges. And some of you might be blue if you're a moderator. Then the ever-changing board. The change this week would be with the off-stream donation from Mr. Kilo 9er Alpha Echo Echo. Gets him from off the board all the way up to 7th place. So thank you very much for the off-stream donation, Kent. And welcome to Hump Day. What's going on, Dan?
Welcome to episode 177 of Hump Day. 177. Welcome, everybody. Kelly Rose was first. KI4JAV. Hey, friends. Whiskey 1, Whiskey Charlie. Howdy. What's happening, Mo? Kilo Oscar 4 Golf. Bravo. Kent. Moving up the Adventure Club board. Howdy. Kilo 9 Alpha Echo. Michael, KE4 EST. Hello. KO4 FSZ Antennas. Alpha Echo 4 X-Ray Oscar. That's Georgia Parks and Propagation. That's our buddy Ron Chris. Go check out his YouTube channel for everything Georgia Parks. Mike 88 KB. What's going on, buddy? Andy Cowley. Good to see you, buddy. And Reed AB8AS. Good evening. Whiskey 8 Echo Romeo, Liz and fam. Hello. Kilo 8 Golf, Quebec. Terry. How you doing, buddy? Ronnie, Kilo Oscar 4. Zulu. Romeo X-Ray is here. November 4 Bravo Delta Whiskey gave the first thumbs up. Thank you so much, Brent. Kilo 6 Romeo Delta Juliet. Good to see you, Richard. You've been in here a lot New Year, man. Did you make a New Year's resolution to watch your friends more on YouTube? We've been missing you, buddy. Good to see you. Kilo Echo 8 Yankee Victor Delta. Sidewalk Sherry. Hello. Dean. Alpha Quebec 4 Alpha Delta Juliet. Greetings. Larry from Ohio. Biscuits and gravy. I would love some. Sounds great. Toby, Alpha Delta 2 Charlie Delta says you'll be listening. Hello, Toby. You're listening. You can't see me waving because you're listening. But hey, Toby, good to see you. Kilo 4. Oh, ta-ta. How you doing, buddy? KI5 MBO James. Hello. N8 SLT Fred. November 4 Charlie Whiskey Bravo is in the house. How you doing, buddy? And Whiskey 1 Radio Charlie Papa. You made it into a stream. You might be driving right now. Drive safe. And James Walker, the dad. How you doing, buddy? Yeah, that's Uniform Victor Kilo. Brian, Mr. Truffle Butter is here. Victor Echo 3 X-Ray November Sierra Stroke Tango Bravo. Good to see you. Kenny, KC5MJE. Welcome. Chris, KF6NFW. You're not really here. He's hiding from the family. I like it. Welcome, buddy. And Kilo 4 Lemur Indier is here as well. Happy Hump Day, episode 177.
177. And thank you very much, Whiskey 1, Whiskey Charlie.
Yeah, buddy.
I'll tell you what, I appreciate super chats, especially this time of year, because it's almost time to spend a tremendous amount of gasoline.
Oh, we got somebody.
Or train fare.
Got somebody else lurking there. North Carolina Old Man Overland. Welcome.
So it's getting that time. I'm getting super excited about that trip for sure. Yeah. And super excited about a lot of things. We're doing ask me anything tonight. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about what y'all want to talk about, but with a twist. Dan, the best topic that they have us talk about tonight, whoever that topic was from, is going to get a sticker pack.
Uh-huh.
So, sticker pack, including them guys, the new ones.
November Lover Lover made it.
I was worried when these stickers came in the other day. So, the first order, you see, and the second order. See the big difference there?
I do. More of a border.
But it's not really. You just peel it from right here.
Ah, gotcha.
I got totally worried when I seen that. I was like, why did they do that?
Terry showing his flex there, remember, for 25 months.
25 months. And you know what? If he needs to be flexing, I would be flexing the two-time PZN hunting
He's
challenge person.
Going for a
Speaking
three-peat.
Speaking of that, we just recently ended up the year, so the fourth quarter was over, and the PZN challenge for last year was over, and we had a couple of drawings to do, and myself and Dan just done them back stream because unfortunately we can't stream on Twitter anymore because they want it to be daggone money to do it, and we can't stream giveaways that's not open to everybody on YouTube, so we had to do it backstream. But congratulations to Kilo Oscar 4 Fart Sniffing Zebra, who won for the fourth quarter adventure club. You get you a big $50 gift certificate to DX Engineering. And congratulations to the PZN fourth quarter winner, Kilo Oscar 4 Sierra Foxtrot Bravo, also a $50 gift certificate to DX Engineering. So congratulations, guys.
Yeah. Congratulations. Brent says Terry should get a WWE championship belt for being a two-time.
Well, I think he's got to beat Ric Flair's record of the 19-time heavyweight champion.
That's right. Yeah. So RFing around says it was a rig. You know those daggum pseudo random number generator.
So see, if it was rigged, we can blame it on Dan, because I put the screen up on the board with all the numbers, and he just tells me what number it drew.
That's right.
So we're gonna blame it on him.
Oh no! Brent said that KK4 OMJ, his hex beam doubled over onto the roof because it was loaded with ice. Man, that sucks.
He said, "What now?"
His hex beam doubled over onto the roof thanks to the ice.
That's not cool at all.
No.
Definitely not cool at all. We don't want that right there.
No, I think we have our first little ask me anything here. Pointers for new activators. Any method to the madness?
Any method to the madness? You want to start, Dan, or you want me
to? Run your pile up the way you want to run it. It's your activation, dude. You can do really whatever you want. The more comfortable you get with it, you'll come up with your own style of doing things. Just the biggest thing is go out there and do it. Have fun doing it, and don't let somebody tell you how to do it a certain way. I mean, you'll come up with your own little flair, your own little way of doing it, and mostly have fun. What do you think, James?
Well, first off, that's great advice, because it is absolutely a whole lot funner to run an activation the way you want to do it, instead of look at somebody like me and be like, oh, okay, I got to activate like he does. And the way I activate's not for the weak of heart. It's not fun for a lot of people because they're panicking. They can't log that fast. They can't do a lot of stuff. And it's a whole lot better. Yankee Victor Delta has learned that it's a whole lot better to activate as a single operator as it is a double operator. Because number one, she ain't got to worry if I'm rattling off 12 calls a minute. She ain't got to log them. She's got to log what she puts in there. And it's a whole lot better. You just run it the way you want to run it, and it'll be a lot funner. My tip would be the old Boy Scout tip, and be prepared. Because I'm telling you right now, you have got to have way more stuff than you need to activate, because sooner or later, if you don't have way more stuff than you need, you're going to need something. Something's going to break. You left something in the wrong bag. You're in a different car. I mean, it's really, really, I'll give you a good example. So we're in the rent a car right now, and therefore all my extra stuff is not in the rent a car. So I'm forced to bring stuff with me. And we had been out activating in the pouring rain, and my bag had got really, really soaked. So I took everything out of the bag, and when I went to put everything back in the bag, I didn't put the power cord for that goes from the battery to the radio. I set up the antenna, got everything set up, and I'm like, crap. But luckily, luckily, my 891 has been modified and has power pole connection in the back. And I literally set the battery right against the radio and plugged it in and got the activation in. But you're going to always find out, antennas are going to, okay, another example, I've been out on a rove and my end-fed half wave gets stuck up in a tree. And most of the time you can pull them out, but sometimes they break. What if I didn't have another antenna that day for the next rove? You got to have extra stuff with you guys. It's very, very important. And if you ain't found that out yet, you will.
Yeah, we got a couple of good questions here. The next one, Whiskey Charlie, what advice would you give for those trying to do the Bailey Sprott as an activator? Now, I would consider doing it if I had a park closer to me, to be honest with you. It's just not time feasible for me to be able to do it. I'll let James answer this because he's in his third and a half year of activating every day. But my tip would be, you don't have to actually go out every day. You can kind of, smudge the system a little bit, do an early and a late shift one day, and technically you don't have to go out for another 24-hour cycle. So you don't have to go out the next night if you don't want to. But James, go ahead.
Well, a really good tip that I would suggest, and people's going to think that I'm being a mom right now, but it's a good tip. Vitamins. I take a big dose of vitamin C, vitamin D3, and zinc every single day to try to help my immune system, because the Bailey Sprott Challenge is not for the weak of heart for sure. As an activator, you got to sometimes go out when you've got the flu, when you've got COVID. You got to walk to a park when the roads are undrivable. So keeping yourself healthy is the best thing. And, I would do something preventative to help it stay that way.
I think
even if it's drink a glass of orange juice every morning.
I think you had COVID twice and you still had to go out.
Yeah. Actually, I had COVID 3 times and had to go out, but 2 of them was in 1 year.
And they wanted to keep you in the hospital one time.
Yeah.
And you said, no, sorry, got to activate.
Well, we won't talk about that because I'm not taking credit for anybody doing that kind of stuff. That's for the mentally challenged people. But that's a couple of good tips.
Let's see here.
Dan's tip was really well, because a lot of people's not like me, and they want to do other things in their life besides POTA. And Eddie actually did the Bailey Sprott the second year, and that's how he did it. He did a early shift, late shift, and that gave him a whole day in between.
Yep.
So
gives you like every other night off, basically, if you look at it like that. But yeah, good question. Next one from North Carolina, Old Man Overland. Can James explain his activations on digital? What is it? He put Hellbender, but it's Hellscriber, and he just loaded FL Digi. Now what?
Okay, so I actually do 2 different kinds. I do PSK 31, and I do Hellscriber. Both of them I use FL Digi on, and I'm going to say this, and Terry's going to roll over because he's going to say this doesn't work. If you're set up for PSK31, you're pretty much set up for Hellscriber, because all I did to change is I went up to the operating mode, and I went to Hell is what it says, and you click over, and there's a lot of different ones in there, and I click on Hell Field because that seems to be where most people used to do it at, and I'll go on Hell Field, and the only other thing is I clicked down and turned my squelch a little different. You want to see when you do Hellfield, you want to see like a little shaded bar going across constantly, except for when somebody's transmitting.
Yeah, I have not made a QSO yet on the Hell mode, but hopefully I'll be around the radio one day when they do it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the last few days I've not been able to, because today is the actual first day that I've actually got to drive to a park myself. I have had a ride to Tomlin the last couple of days before today, and then I've walked to Chief Logan both days. But today I actually got to drive to 2 parks, and I probably should have took the DX10 with me today, just so I could have done some digital. But if tomorrow is still drivable, that'll be back on schedule tomorrow. Yes, Hellfield.
Mo says went to an activation and forgot the coax. I think we've all forgot something.
You should always have extra coax too, in case a deer runs out of the woods and tramples your coax, because it happens.
Good
But
point.
but with that being said, I would be willing to bet that if that deer came out and tried to trample my coax now, he wouldn't break it, because I now am full time using ABR coax, and with the wrap on that stuff, I have found that stuff to be the absolute toughest stuff there is. I have accidentally shut it indoors. I've rolled the window all the way up on it. I've seen it trampled. I mean, that stuff is just tough. And I've been using my orange piece for, I guess, a little over a year, close to a year and a half now, and it still wraps up good. There's no kinks in it, and it's absolute great stuff. And I've started replacing the home with it. I'm officially full time ABR now, and actually, if you want to save a little bit of money on them, I only push things that I like, guys. But this right there will save you some money if you go right there and you'll use the code HRAG. But it is great coax. So
ABR coax is so tough. If a deer would run through it, you could probably just unhook your coax real fast using the slip-on connectors that everybody should be using, and then go wrap the deer's legs up with it and take the deer home. That's right. Yeah, there's a lot of modes. There's a ton of digital modes. That's the truth.
Mo, if that was Mo that asked that, wasn't it? Or was it Max? That was Max. Max, if you want, after the stream, before I go into the after chat, I can hook up Hellscriber and try to make a contact with you if you want, just to see if you got it set up right.
Brent says he has a 50-foot run of ABR he bought last year with 5 chokes, and I miss weak contacts. Awful. I still, man, my ABR, I love it. I have coiled it up and thrown it out, and coiled it up and thrown it out so many times, and I don't have the little jacket on it that James has on his, but I love it. It's still working strong. I think it was 2 years ago or so, maybe a year and a half ago I bought it, and it's still great.
Oh, well, then maybe I've been using mine longer than that, because I had mine before Dan bought his. So I've been using mine for quite a while, and I actually have a brand new piece in there that I want to start using this year, because I went ahead and got me the one with the interchangeable heads.
Yeah.
So I've got a yellow piece as well that I may start using, and I also have a 3/16 orange one that I use for my QRP, and I have used it for QRO. I've used it several times. It'll hold it for sure.
What the heck? Alpha Echo 4 X-Ray Oscar says he bought 100 feet of ABR 3 times and the squirrels keep eating it. Those are some mean old squirrels. That's what I got to say. Rabid.
That's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
I've never heard of squirrels eating coax. That's a new one.
That's not, you know what?
Yeah, I don't like squirrels. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna put that to test because when I go to Florida, I have to set up a hunting station for Sidewalk Sherry for when I'm out activating and she's working from Florida, and I'll be running antenna and I'll be using ABR coax down there for her as well. And my mom has some squirrels that are probably big as most house cats. And I'm talking the bigger house cats because they feed them every day. Like as soon as her boyfriend comes home, he goes out and throws out all kinds of stuff. And I mean, when he comes home, it's like the blue light special at Walmart in a welfare state. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. Them things come a running, and there's so many of them. So I can't believe squirrels ate coax.
You could, I mean, you can keep squirrels off of it, I guess. Make you a mixture of like olive oil and cayenne pepper. Coat your coax with it. I doubt they'll eat that.
There's another one. Dave says they chewed the jacket off his LMR 600 a few years ago.
Pesky little buggers.
I'll tell you flat out, when squirrels start eating my coax, squirrels stop existing near my house. I can promise you that.
Yeah.
I've got one of those Gammo air rifles, and I mean it's powerful enough to go hunting with to start with, but it'll put down a squirrel in a heartbeat.
Those are some good questions we got so far. What else we got in the chat? The Ask Me Anything hour.
That's right. The Ask Me Anything hour.
Well, almost anything. Well, you can ask anything. I don't know if we're going to answer.
They could ask anything. They might not get answered or not. They may get referred to chill pad on a weeknight, you know, to get an answer. So
Terry says there's plenty of nuts in his yard. They don't bother my coax.
Because they're scared of that big nut that's not in the yard, the one that's in the house. Sherry said Snow White's Animal Kingdom. I think she's talking about Terry's house too.
Yeah. He shared a picture of the snow the other day, and it was crazy.
This is what's crazy. So, you know, the last time I measured it was 8 inches, and then we got several after that. But she decided she's going to go out there and shovel this crap. Now, me, I don't shovel snow. I just run over it and go on about my business. But she's a worrywart, and she's like, "Oh, you can't run over this. It's this and this." Anyway, she goes out there to shovel this stuff. Now, this is, you know, probably 10 inches of snow. Okay, but now it's iced on top of that. She goes outside. She don't sink in 10 inches of snow. She's standing on top of it because it's ice.
Ice.
I mean, that's how crazy it was.
See you, James. Thanks for stopping in. He has to go put the trash out.
Before bed, did you not take your Canadian nap today?
He has to go adult for a little while. We know James has a most frequent park, but what does he hate or avoid most of all, and why? Do you have a park that you purposely don't go to that is easy for you to get to, but you purposely don't because you don't like it?
Absolutely. Well, for one, I avoid Herbert Hill Wildlife Management Area. We've all heard me tell horror stories about that. That's the one that the creek is the road. And I mean, if you had a four-wheeler or something like that, that would be a fun park to activate. But it's not fun to take any kind of vehicle. Even four-wheel drive is not fun because the road to get back there to it is very narrow. And for God forbid that Lee happened to be at that park that day and was coming out of that road when I was coming in, because I don't know. One of us is going to be doing about a 3 or 4 mile back up. So I avoid that one. I also avoid wildlife management areas. If I've already done a wildlife management area and it's way out of the way and doesn't have phone signal and stuff like that, if I've done got it, I tend to avoid those as well. But other than that, I try to hit most of the parks, um, all the parks in a radius of me, and I mean a good radius. Besides some of the newer ones, I've eagled. So after I've eagled them, I try to move on to other rotations and just hit them every now and then. But
WMAs are fun, especially when you get locked in after they close the gate and you have to call your DNR ranger to come let you out. Ask me how I know. James, recommended number and size of radials for an Eagle One antenna. Now, is this going to be for home use, semi-permanent in a backyard, or for POTA? I'm going to ask that first. And if it is for POTA, do you have a way to mount it on your vehicle, like maybe using the hitch mount that Eagle One sells as well?
So I'll answer it both ways while they're discussing what it's for. If you have a hitch mount on your vehicle and that is properly connected to your vehicle, you can just take your clamp and clamp it onto that hitch mount, and that's all I've ever done. Yeah, I have a little bit of West Virginia rust that helps, but that works great. If you are using it on a tripod, you're definitely going to have to use radials. But if you're using it on a tripod, I'm going to assume you're using it for a home purpose. So the more radials you have, the better.
To a point, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, to a point. I mean, I'm not saying 4,000, but 12 is better than 4. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The size. A radial person will tell you that, and this is a radial person, that if they're on top of the ground, they need to be cut for the band. If they're under the ground, it does not matter. I'm going to tell you that almost every antenna that I've ever used radials on have been 33 feet, except for the Cheligus. And I've used that with the Eagle One on drive-on mounts, and I've used it on every other antenna that's used radials, besides the Cheligus and the Buddy Stick, of course, because it's an elevated radial. What's your thoughts on the radials on top of the ground and under the ground, Dan?
Well, 6 by 16 feet, what Brian says, that's a good number. Up to 32. After 32, you get diminishing returns. I've done a lot of experimentation with the radials and my DX Commander and things like that. Over 32, your gains are very negligible. Don't go over 32. You're gonna spend more money on copper than you are gonna get gains out of it. Anywhere between 6 is fine. I've ran my Eagle One in the backyard with, I think, 8 radials. I think they were maybe 30 feet, and it worked fine. 432 feet is fine too. It's not necessarily how many radials you have out, it's the amount of copper that is in that. So you can have 100 1-foot radials, or you can have 2 50-foot radials. Probably going to act about the same. As far as on the ground, under the ground, if your radio is within about a meter of ground level, you don't have to run them tuned. once you start elevating your radials above about a meter-ish, you're going to want to tune your radials and have the radials cut for the band that you're running. But if you lay them on the ground or if you have them under the ground, you have to worry about tuning your radial.
See, I agree with that too, but the radio gurus tell you if they're laying on the ground, they got to be cut for the band. They try to tell me that, and I'm like, cool. Mine's 33 feet, and they're staying that way.
No, only if they're elevated do they have to be cut for the band.
No, I agree with the elevated though. I've definitely dealt with that as well with the buddy stick. But to be totally honest, the Eagle One superpower is through a hitch mount grounded to the vehicle, because then your vehicle is acting as the radial, and 50 foot of coax. Do not use 25 or 30 feet. You're doing yourself injustice. You will double your contacts by going to 50 feet of coax with the Eagle One.
And another note for that too, if you have ABR coax, we dropped the link up in the chat just a minute ago. If you're running ABR coax with chokes on one end of it, put the chokes on your radio side, not the antenna side.
That's right. That's the exact way I run mine. Because if you run it on the antenna side, it's no longer a radio for you.
But 90% of all my activations are done on the Eagle One on a hitch mount, and I take the little braided clamp and I attach it to where my my trailer safety harness is attached, to the trailer hitch. I rubbed off some of the paint right there, so I got a good bond right to my truck. It uses my whole truck, as James says, as the negative side of the antenna, or as your radial. Yeah, there you go. They don't have to be tuned for if they're just laying on the ground or even under the ground.
Yeah, but how many contacts do you have, Brian, with the wire wrapped up around the winders and it laying in the back of your truck like Steven did?
That's true. What I started experimenting with, we're talking about radials a little bit. If you're going to do a semi-permanent or even a permanent home mount for a vertical, so all verticals are going to need a counterpoise of some sort, a radial system to be the other half of that dipole, right? So you have your positive lead up in the air. You're going to need a negative lead somewhere, whether that's going to be a common mode on your coax acting as a radial, or you're going to have a radial field around your vertical, whatever. What I started experimenting with was using mesh. You can put down rolls of mesh. It's a lot of area in contact with the ground. And I found that 1 or 2 5 or 6 foot, maybe 2 feet wide rolls of wire mesh make a great ground radial system.
Awesome. Oh yeah, 25 foot will work, Eddie. But anybody who's ever done the switch has always thanked me for that. That it's a world of difference.
Yeah, use a quick connect on your vehicle that's grounded to the chassis. You can do that too. Mine, I just take a little spring clamp and I just hook it up. But yeah, the same principle. But yeah. Does the mesh rust? This was stainless steel mesh. I'm not going to say it won't rust eventually. But I did it with stainless steel mesh.
PP Man, your hat is at the soup kitchen. I got that question for you, Dan. That way we didn't have to discuss it.
I imagine if you could do it with like chicken wire, but chicken wire eventually is going to rust if you have it in the ground. But yeah, just something that's going to be in contact with the ground that's going to give you area. On the same principle as using one of those magic carpets, really. It's just you're going to have it there permanently.
And again, if you're setting it up for home, you want to be more. You want to put more into this because from home you're going to want a better setup than you have in a field. An activator, the hunters are going to hunt you. It doesn't matter if your signal's 3-1 or 40 over. They're going to hunt you. They're going to find a way to hunt you if they want you. There's hunters out there that will pull every means necessary to get an activator. And the activator, there's been times when I was running it on a drive on mount, that's when I use my radials, that is pouring or rain or something, and I didn't want to put out radials. I just ran it straight up, no radials, no grounding whatsoever, and I activated. But is it most efficient like that? No. So
good tip right here. If you have an underground dog fence, one of those invisible fences, and your dog's already trained and you don't need it, or maybe your dog is passed on to the Rainbow Bridge, you got a great loop right there that you can. Didn't even think about that.
I ain't never thought about that either. That is a pretty cool tip. Thanks, Curtis.
Yeah, chicken wire does rust out really quick. Go stainless if you can. And yeah.
I'm just gonna call like a steel fabrication place and be like, I need you guys to bring me a yard. What do you mean a yard? I mean, I want a steel yard.
Yeah. This is a stainless steel plate. Just make that my entire backyard, just buried about an inch.
Oh no, it can even sit on top. I don't care.
There you go.
That way I ain't got to cut grass.
Oh, you'll love it when it gets icy. You try to walk on it, right?
I'm sure.
Turn into a skating rink.
I tell you what, man, if too many more snows like this, and it's going to have to be, my snowbirding season is going to have to like get longer or something.
4 by 15 foot pieces of aluminum sheet metal.
This has been 2 years straight with the walking into the snow into Chief Logan. So that one day it was still pouring the snow. I literally had to put like a piece of plastic over my whole radio kit, and the microphone was just covered out. It was pouring the snow. I know some of y'all seen the short that I dropped.
Our Canadian brother basically just told you to man up. It's only 8 inches, man.
I know. I agree. You guys have way more snow, but how often do you go out in it? I have to every day.
Brian says, "Go out in it. I sleep in it."
He could. I don't know if he does, but he could.
You had over 28 inches of snow over the week. Holy crap! That is nuts. How is what do you do with your roofs? Do you have to, I guess, shovel the snow off your roofs? Because that's a lot of weight. If you don't have a really good sloped roof where it doesn't stick, especially if it's like wet snow, that's a lot of weight on your roof, right? I don't know. I don't live in Snowville. I mean,
I wouldn't know about 28 inches of snow. So
that's crazy.
That's definitely a Canadian. He said he used to
just leave it there.
Now he just leaves it there.
Mm. I've never heard of a roof rake. Dude, I live in South Georgia. I don't know what a roof rake is. I know what a yard rake is.
Oh.
But I don't rake my yard anyways. There's leaves on it. I just put the mulcher down and mow over them. I'm getting educated about snow here. Y'all supposed to be asking us questions, not me asking y'all questions. Chris needs a
Chris
squirrel.
needs a squirrel. I agree with that.
Oh, that's great.
You know, I don't know. I don't even know what the comment was, but I thought about it earlier and I lost track because we started having fun here. So so you mentioned gravy and biscuit to Larry. I don't know what his comment was with
Gravy and biscuits. Yeah, that's what he said.
but I think you made me think of a new challenge. So I'm challenging all the Patreons when I come to activate with y'all this year somewhere. Either take me to your place that has the best gravy and biscuits, or make me your best gravy and biscuits. And the winner of the gravy and biscuit challenge will get a prize. I don't know what it is yet. I guess it depends on how good the winner's is.
Yeah, I can help judge that. Yes, sir.
Now Dan's like, so the Patreon.
That's a good idea.
With Eddie, we got to extend it so we have breakfast and lunch now.
Yeah, we'll have hey, okay, hey, there you go, right there. We're gonna have brisket, biscuits and gravy, and then a bread.
There we go.
The best biscuit. How did we get on biscuits and gravy? But anyway, the best biscuits and gravy I ever had was at Silver Lake Cafe. Sorry, I can read, in Silver Lake, California.
I don't think I have no California Patreons now. I have had, but he moved to Nevada and then is no longer a Patreon anyway. But I don't have no California ones now, so that one's out. Terry says briskets and gravy. Yeah, I'm down for that too.
I like this idea here. Chris says you should do an episode where activators send in their pics of their setups when you're in the park, and then an episode of hunter setups. You know, folks at home that hunt the activators.
It's a good idea. We might have to do that one time.
I'll write that down in my notebook. Good idea, buddy.
I'll tell you what. We are on the 8th of the month, Dan. And I happened to look at stats earlier today. 8 days in. Let's ask the chat, how many people do you think is in the PZN challenge after 8 days? Now, first off, I'm going to congratulate you guys for the last couple of days because it's been rough. The first couple was really easy because I've been more active, like I said, but the last couple with the walk-ins is been so we've got a 32, we've got a 47,
39, 50, 107, 5. I'm going to say my guess is going to be $1, Bob. $1. No, we can't do that. It's not the lowest, is it?
Chris says 10. Josh says 18. We got a 40.
I'm going to say 15.
Brian says, I missed PZN yesterday. I'm out. Yes. 43. 75. Nobody's hit the number yet.
32. 19. See you, Curtis, man. Thanks for stopping by. Hopefully,
22.
See you down in Orlando here soon, if you can make it, buddy.
55. And you've done guest once. 27. 2.
Yeah, that man. Terry would be like, "Am I one of
all of them?"
That's a true answer.
You're not one of them, Stephen, but your daddy is.
All right, so who's closest out of the numbers we got yet?
The numbers we got, and I'm going to cut them off now because the numbers we got, I'm going to say the closest person is Mo. He missed it by 1. He said 27, and it is 26. 26 people still in the PZN challenge after 8 days. They dropped off quickly.
About time to actually start keeping track. I figured you'd have more than that.
Oh no. It's got to be down to 10 before I start saying, okay, who do I got? Who do I got left?
But what if you end the year with 26?
That would be great. That would be great. I'm gonna beat 5 this year. I'm
You
gonna
got
beat 5.
you got 5 the year before too, didn't you?
Yeah, it's been
I mean,
5
it's
and
been
5.
5 and 5 and 5 and 5. Yeah.
I'm gonna beat 5. We're gonna finish with at least 6.
Whiskey One Whiskey Charlie. You should try to park them every day. That would be a good challenge. Oh, Misha, I did not see that. What is the best SSB QRP rig under 300 USD or 400 Canadian? I don't know, but if James might have a thought here, but I know in the chat is our QRP guru, Mike PP Man, who might be able to help you out here.
Yeah, I wouldn't know under 300 for sideband. If we were going for CW, I could probably help you with that.
How much is the G90? Now the G90 is going to be over that.
Yeah, the G90 is over 300.
The QT80? What is the QT80? The Radiodity? It's a 10 meter. You'll probably be able to get a used G90 for that price. Yeah, sure. I can see that happen. Yeah, look for a used G90. The times that I've used a G90, it's not a bad radio.
Honestly, if I was going to get a G90, I would get a used one to start with because the old school G90s are better than the new ones. My G90 that I got over there, I guarantee you would outperform a brand new one.
She also asked, what about the True SDX?
Well, I've got one that somebody sent me, but unfortunately it never works. So I cannot answer that. Steven is in the chat and has used one. I think PP Man has used one. I don't know if they've used it for sideband though. For sideband QRP, I've used much more expensive radios. I've used the KX3. I've used the Yaesu FT. Why am I 818? There we go. 818.
Larry says the G106 is 250. We're also coming up here on basically Hamfest season, so good place if you can make it to one of the big Hamfest, one of the big 3, or maybe a regional Hamfest or something like that. You might be able to score a good deal on something used. I would rather purchase my used equipment at a Hamfest anyway, because I can plug it in and make sure it works rather than buying it online. Kind of rolling the dice sometimes.
Yeah. See, that's kind of like a bad question too, because one, you're going to get what you pay for, but two, I don't want to pay a bunch of money for QRP. I've always been against that. Most of my QRP radios I've got with really, really great deals. I would suggest trying to catch a really good deal on something with that 300 instead of buying something that's new under 300, because you can go to these shows sometimes and get some really good deals. I know in one year I walked away with 2 absolute steals on QRP radios.
Good deals or good trades too, if you have something to trade. So.
You'd probably be a lot more happy, because when it comes to QRP SSB, you want something that's going to be a little bit better. CW, you can get away with anything that'll put out a CW signal if it'll put it out at 5 watts, you're going to be golden. But SSB, you're going to want something that's got a little more to it.
That's right. Smash the thumbs up, hit the like button, the subscribe, notification bell. Three. Yeah, you're right.
I think he was sending that to PP Man, so PP Man can put $300 down and the rest of the payments and send me to 101. But make mine DMP, PP Man. Don't waste your time on that D stuff.
I never say that I bought a 101D in Huntsville. What happened was I bought a map and I bought like 5 of these hats. They're expensive.
Yeah. It's funny because I didn't realize the maps were that expensive, so I'm glad you got one and I didn't have to give you that extra one that I've got, because anybody who needs to get one of those maps and one of those hats, just bring me to 101 MP and I will hook you up.
A whole sleeve of hats. That's right. I asked the guy, I said, can I get, a hat or 2? And he goes, how many do you want? And he brings out the whole sleeve of hats.
Oh. Speaking of QRP, does everybody think Yezu's going to drop the one in February? The one they've been teasing us with?
Yeah, I think they will. I mean, finally get to figure out what the cost is. That's what I'm curious of.
Yeah. You get to see. Hopefully it doesn't drop at the show and DX Engineering call me while I'm at the show. Everybody will get to see me panicking at the show.
Xenia is 22 hour, 15 minutes drive. Wow. That's nuts.
It's just like roving, man.
Yeah. Think all the states you can get between here and there.
It is a long drive.
Yeah. Long drive from here, too. It's 11, 12 hours.
Do you know what it would take me to do that drive, though?
In the rental or in your Armada?
Let's put this in perspective. So 22 hours, 15 minutes drives. I drive 14 hours to get to Florida, but it takes me 3 days.
Yeah.
So that's a 4 or 5 day trip because there's just too many parks in between there.
That's the thing too. I mean, the drive straight through from here to Xenia is about 12 hours. But we ain't gonna drive straight through. We're gonna stop for an hour or so at a park 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Activate 30 parks on the way. That's right. There are no straight lines in POTA, my brother Ray has said.
Maybe a local ham fest, you get a good deal on one as well. I mean, there is local ham fest that, people get tired of stuff. Look at forums and sales and stuff like that. I just think I think you'll do better off getting a better used one for sideband than to get a new one at that price. There we go. Photo plus geocaching. You're absolutely right. It would take forever. That used to be my breakup when I was on trips, was geocaching. So I know all about that as well. We need more Buc-ee's to do that, buddy.
Yeah.
They're building a new one in Ohio, but it won't be this year for Xenia.
Fielded some good questions this hour. Appreciate all the.
I know. We got to pick a winner, Dan. What was your favorite question?
Oh man.
Or even better, let's let the chat decide. Chat, what was your favorite question you got to hear us talk about?
Yeah, because I liked them all.
Because there were some good questions in there.
Let's see what
the chat says.
See what they decide. They're going to choose a winner for us. That way we're not on the hook.
And the chat goes silent. They're like, oh, they answered questions? The chat still has not moved.
Can we list the questions? I don't remember all of them. I'd have to scroll back here. Okay, let me scroll back. Okay, let's see. Let's run through these here. I'm looking. Still looking.
We had the Eagle One radio question.
Eagle One radials.
We had the QRP sideband under $300 question.
Pointers for the new activators.
Pointers for the new activator. Parks that I don't go to, and why.
Pointers and advice for activators trying to do the belly sprot.
Yeah.
Digital mode activations, explaining what Tailscriber was, FL Digi, and things like that.
Biscuits and gravy was not a question. It was a challenge from me.
The Eagle One and the radials.
We had it. Has anybody seen my hat? How does a squirrel eat coax? I don't know that was a question, as it's amazement.
Your most frequent park, but the park you like to avoid and why.
Chris says the POTA one was the best. I think they're all POTA related.
I think so. One that I skipped over that Eddie asked, which was pretty funny though. But would you ever give up your icons and consider using a Yaesu?
Yes, I have. All right, so Larry says the Eagle One question. Mike says the radial question. Whiskey One Whiskey Charlie says the Eagle One he thinks. Max says radials. Mike says radials.
The Eagle One and the radial discussion kind of melded together because it was kind of, are you going to use it for POTA on your hitch mount or a home station? It was all about the Eagle One, but the radials.
I was like, wasn't the Eagle One and the radials the same question?
Yeah, but we got into a good discussion about elevated radials versus ground radials.
Anyway, there's more radials than anything anyway so far. Yeah, they are the same question. And that was what, James Jenner?
Oh, I'd have to scroll back up. Yeah, everybody wins. How about that? Let's see. Who asked the Eagle One question? Is that you, James?
I'm pretty sure it was James Jenner.
Yeah, that was him. Yep, I'm looking at it.
All right, James Jenner with a new sticker pack.
There you go.
There we go, Terry. KI5MBO, new sticker pack. And before you ask, I know you need more of the bike stickers. All right. Dan, it's past the top of the hour. What you got coming up?
Time flies when you're having fun, man. Thank you for all the questions tonight, guys and gals. And hopefully everybody has a great rest of the week and coming up on the weekend, and stay warm. It's going to be colder. So hopefully you don't get 47 inches of snow wherever you are.
I'll tell you what, if people has winter field day questions, they probably want to be here next week, because we will have the staff from Winter Field Day here answering all the questions about the new changes and stuff once again. So Winter Field Day will be next Wednesday. Shenanigans will be on Sunday. And activating will be every day in between there. So
oh, you're doing that Sprott Bailey thing?
Yeah, I believe I'm going to. If I could get out of doing the Bailey Sprott and keep the PZN challenge going some way, you tell me how I can make that happen.
There you go.
because we'd be a lot better off. 26 people. That's still an awful lot.
Yeah.
Any guesses how many is going to be left after the first quarter before we go? While we're getting guesses in the chat, I'm getting ready to head over to After Chat, which is a Patreon benefit. If you would like to check it out and you're not a Patreon, go over there and subscribe free for 7 days. And Brian says 8 after the first quarter. And make sure and message me or Dan 10 from Whiskey 1 Whiskey Charlie, and we'll get you the benefit. We've got an 8, a 10, a 13, a 20,
7,
20, 15, 15.
Sounds about right.
Some good guesses. Some good guesses. I'm hoping there's still 20 left after the first quarter. That'll be a good first quarter. All right, guys. I'm heading After Chat. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us and all the questions tonight. And don't forget Winterfield Day questions next week. 73, everybody.
See you.